March 18th, 2014, I guess. Yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, last week was spring break, today was our first day back in classes, and I should be doing something productive, but I don't feel like it, so I'm sitting down to ramble a little bit about well, really nothing. I don't have anything in particular on my mind. I just feel like talking, and I'd rather pretend I'm not talking to myself right now. Um, when I was at my mom's over spring break, I grabbed a whole bunch of my CDs that I had left at her house. And I was picking through the collection today looking for something to listen to. And I just started putting like random things in and like picking out my favorite songs. And it's amazing um, how songs can be tied to different things. You know, I was listening to a Jessica Andrews album, Heart Shaped World. Great album, by the way. Old one, but if you can find it, get it. And I was thinking about how um, when I first got that CD, I was between relationships. I was between my first boyfriend, who was the guy that I eventually married, and my first fiance. Um, that's a story. That's not what I'm going to tell right now, but it's a good story. And I was thinking about how the song James Dean in Tennessee used to make me think of like everyone I knew. You know, we were all trying so hard to be cool and you know, funny and, you know, lovable and worthy or whatever. And we all just like failed miserably. I mean, you know, the girl who was my best friend back then hasn't matured hardly at all since we were in high school. And the guy I was seeing, um, my, I guess you could say, high school sweetheart, you know, the only high school I ever dated, ironically enough. Um, you know, we always said that we were gonna leave town and make something of ourselves. We were gonna be, you know, these huge successes. And the ones that didn't want to leave town thought they would be happy there forever. And weren't, you know, aren't some of them. And, you know, the few people that stayed local and are still happy are like completely foreign to me now. And it's really like, I don't know, it's just bizarre to me to think about how much we've all changed and all the things that we've been through. You know, I'm gonna say that album is what, 12, 13, you know, maybe 15 years old. It's an old CD, but I remember listening to that CD at, you know, the age of 16 or 17, and there was this one song on it. It's called Hungry Love, and it's about this girl who, you know, she basically like grows up alone because her mom is gone, you know, at the bars and like working and stuff like that all the time. And so like this girl kind of lives her life, you know, by herself, and she has her headphones on and she's like all lonely or whatever. And for a country song, like it's really kind of pathetic, but I guess a lot of country songs like that are. But it says, you know, to get away from it all, she puts her headphones on and turns the music way up loud. The first boy who comes along and paid her any mind at all will be the only love she's ever found. And um, I was so determined that that wasn't going to be me. You know, I was so sure that there was so much more to me than, you know, my headphones, and I wasn't going to spend the rest of my life hunting and searching for someone to make me happy. And then I spent the next 10 years hunting and searching for someone to make me happy. Irony. I just barely started to figure out again that I'm the only one that can make me happy. I'm the only one that can prove myself worthy and kind of the power that I've pulled from that, from knowing that all I have to do is repeat the truth. Um, I heard somewhere that, truth is not the great convincer, because if truth was the great convincer, then everyone who's ever heard the gospel would be saved. But actually, it's repetition is the great convincer, and what you say over and over and over again. And I think one of the reasons that I listened to those songs back then was because I didn't have anyone telling me that they were wrong. I never had anyone telling me that that wasn't the way it had to be. So I just kind of took it and I let it become a part of me and my life and my world and, part of my existence or whatever. And God, how did I have time for that? Like, I think about all the stuff I used to be. I used to, well, be and do. I was a band nerd. I was one of the smart kids. I was in AP classes in UIL, all through high school. Culinary school came along, and I was, I was in school 30 hours a week or so, barring the month or two after I had that miscarriage. I was a friend, I was a chauffeur, I was occasionally a chaperone, which is, if you knew me back then, really ironic that I was the one that was like sitting around making other people be responsible, but I was. And then after that, I was working two jobs. And then, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I was married with a baby. And it's like, how did I find time to be such a pathetic, wasteful little sap? But I was. I still am to a certain extent. There are people who, might watch this and they'll probably hold their tongues, but they're laughing either on the inside or right out loud because they know that I'm still, a pathetic little sap. And okay, fine, that's what it is, but I'm working on it. Um, Life is strange. And one of the things that I'm finally really beginning to learn is that you get from it what you take from it. And not just what you put in, because you can give life your heart and your soul and everything you've got. And barring, a couple of years of severe depression, I don't think it can be said that I ever didn't give my life everything I had. But sometimes life gives you what you take from it, And I was having dinner with some friends a few nights ago, and I was eating some ice cream. I know, naughty. I'm supposed to be like losing 40 pounds by the end of the year, but I had to have this, you know, chocolate cookie thing with like vanilla ice cream on it. We shared, it counts, whatever. Um, and somebody commented on, the way I was eating it. And there's kind of like this running joke about how much I love food. And I do. I have a very real emotional attachment to, egg sandwiches and Kit Kat bars and great big salads and all that other stuff. So I'm sitting here eating this ice cream, and I think it was the guy who was sitting across the table from me looks at me and says, you really seem to be enjoying that. And I just like, yeah, I mean, I wasn't even looking up. Like I was focusing on my ice cream. I'm like chewing with my eyes closed and just enjoying it. And I said, yeah, I'm at a point in life where I'll take pleasure where I can get it. And everyone just kind of like, rolled their eyes or chuckled because, some of them know it's true and some of them just think I'm stupid. And, the sort of, the other connotations that they took from that statement, which I didn't pick up on until like 2 bites later. And by then it was too late to apologize. But, I got to thinking about it today, because I didn't feel like paying attention in chemistry class, basically. And I was thinking that we should not let ourselves get to that place. I'll take pleasure wherever I can get it, which basically says I'm giving up on everything. I mean, think about it. If food is the joy of your life, what's your life really like? I mean, if you can't find pleasure in a good book anymore, or in a great song, or in the company of your friends. I mean, there was a time, it was a long time ago, but there was a time when the food didn't even get eaten, and not necessarily because it was bad food, but because I was so busy laughing and talking and enjoying myself that I just didn't think about what was in front of me. I was thinking about what was around me. And now I've gotten to a point where I don't worry about the people as much as I worry about the plate. And that's a problem. Like, that is a dangerous, ugly thing, And I don't really know what to do about that. I mean, how do you fix that? And some people would say, well, you need better friends. Funny that you should say that because, I go to school and I go to work and I take care of my kid, and I don't really go spend a lot of time, I should say, in the kinds of places where you can make different kinds of friends. You know what I mean? And that's not to say I don't love the friends I have. It's just to say that um, I can't distract myself in them anymore. And the fact that I ever needed to distract myself in other people is kind of creepy, almost. And I don't really know where all of that came from. It's just kind of what's popping into my head right now. But I guess what it comes down to is I'm not occupied well enough within myself. Because if I was occupied well enough within myself, I would be able to be wholly present. Not wholly, but like completely present within my friends. And I'm just not anymore. And I don't know if they notice it or not, but I'm just not as interested as I used to be in um, my life and the world around me. I've had some pretty strange, good and bad things happen, and some slightly ugly disappointments in the last week. And I mean, some real joys too. There are some people who will not allow you to wrap yourself up in your food. And I'm grateful for that. But those are always the people who can't be around all the time. And I guess that's really all I have to say about that, because that's it.